Okay, we'll go ahead and call our meeting back to order. Mrs. Shawnee, would you read us out of closed, please?
Yes, I move that the Roanoke County School Board come out of closed session for the following: to discuss the investigation of a student matter pursuant to the Scholastic Record Exemption at 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia. I also move to certify, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened, were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the school board.
I didn't catch that. Can you read that?
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Greenway.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Shawnee.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes, ma'am. And we have no action from closed. Welcome, everybody. If I can have you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance. Announcement of changes in the agenda. I don't believe we have any. I'd like to make a motion for the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Greenway.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Shawnee.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes, ma'am. Item 5.01, recognition of BCAT 2024 CTSO state winners. Mr. Christian Kish. I got it.
All right, good evening, Chairman Hudson, members of the school board, and Dr. Nicely. Thank you for having us here this evening. It's May, and that means I'm back to give our results for our CTSO competitions that we had at the state level. In Skills USA, Jobs for Virginia Graduates, and Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, which is better known as FCCLA. These dedicated students traveled out of town to compete against their peers all across the Commonwealth, and as always, they impressed us. Their success is a testament to the dedication of our lead advisors, Mr. Walls, Ms. Kinzer, and Ms. Puffco, and their hours of planning and coordination ensured that these students could enjoy and be well prepared to showcase their skills. Also want to recognize some additional teachers who played a crucial role in their success: Ms. Janet Washington in our Center for Engineering, Mr. Tom Shelton in Building Trades, Mr. Overfelt in Welding, and Mr. Sean Burns, who is our Mechatronics teachers. They help these students reach their full potential. It's also with great pride that we acknowledge all 5 base schools are represented with this group, and I think, again, this speaks volumes about the strength of all of our district-wide programs. And then, as always, I'd like to thank the parents for trusting us and supporting your children to be instrumental in their success. And I always like to say this: feel free to brag about them at family and friend functions. They've earned it, and so have you. Also, before we do this, I want to extend our best wishes to the students that are going to the national competitions. We are proud of all of you. So at this time, I would like to recognize our JVG state winners. Not all of whom are present, but Sienna Donald, Nathan King, and Avery Thomas won state for the Ignite competition and went at the national level and finished 8th for their first ever time competing in this event. I think that's very impressive. Want to recognize Frank Zarkadoulis, who is our Skills USA state winner in related technical math. Frank's really smart. Tanner Schoonover, who is our state winner in Skills USA for welding. And then John Gagne, who is not here tonight, and Tanner Montgomery won states for occupational display. Tanner, this is his second time up here with us. And then finally, we have Ashling Kleinville and Samantha Wood, who won FCCLA states for focus on children. Thank you. I'll help you hand out that.
Picture, yeah.
So parents, as soon as we get them lined up, you guys have first crack at them. Wait, turn out your certificates. Oh, yours. I'll move.
All right, item 5.02, recognition of Northside High School first place overall DECA state winners, Miss Jill Green and Miss Lineberry.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Nicely. Thank you for the opportunity to recognize some special accomplishments for a few of our amazing Vikings tonight. I am going to let Ms. Lineberry share the details on the recognitions.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am incredibly proud to stand before you today to share a remarkable achievement from Northside High School. 4 of our outstanding students, Parker Addison, Matthew Denny, Alan Lamb, and Tony Lamb, earned the honor of representing Northside at DECA International Career Development Conference in Anaheim, California. Their dedication, hard work, and passion for excellence have propelled them to this prestigious stage where they competed among the best and the brightest from around the globe. As their teacher, I have witnessed firsthand their growth, determination, and unwavering commitment to their success and future. We all had an incredible trip, and my teacher heart is so full of joy as I watch these students represent Northside High School with such kindness and professionalism. Please join me in congratulating these exceptional students. We cannot wait to see what their future holds in DECA and also all their future endeavors at Northside High. Thank you.
Have at it. Don't go anywhere. Oh, hold on, we got one more. Hold on. All right, congratulations.
Congratulations. Next item, 5.03, recognition of Northside High School first place state FBLA winners, Miss Jill Green and Miss Amanda Painter.
And I will let Ms. Painter share
Welcome.
the accomplishments for our FBLA students.
Good evening. My name is Ms. Painter, and I'm the advisor for Northside High School's chapter of Future Business Leaders of America. FBLA inspires and prepares students to become community-minded business leaders in a global society through career-relevant preparation and leadership experiences. It's been my pleasure to work with 2 outstanding students this year who have advanced to the Northside National Leadership Conference in Orlando, Florida in June. Both of these students have advanced from region regions to states. They've represented Northside with dignity and pride as they've shown sportsmanship and respect at each of the conferences they've been a part of. Speaking on behalf of Northside High School staff, the administration, and the community, please join me in congratulating Lucas Bowling, who will be excelling in healthcare administration, and Tony Lamb, who will be competing in human resource management. Congratulations.
Yeah, slide that this way a little bit so you're a little bit more centered over the seal for the photos. There we go. They're all yours. All right, hold tight. Got one more down here. All right, here we go.
Congratulations. Okay, next we have item 5.04, recognition of Glenver High School first place state FBLA competition and public policy advocacy. Jameson Vaughn, Dr. Corey Franklin, and Mrs. Katie Benson.
Good evening, members of the school board, Dr. Nicely. We are very proud of this young man right here, and I am going to let his FBLA sponsor, Miss Katie Benson, speak to this. He's had a great day, by the way. He already signed for Virginia Tech this afternoon to be varsity cheer.
Hi, I'm Katie Benson. I am so proud of Jameson. He placed first in public policy and advocacy at our state FBLA competition. He is truly passionate about FBLA. He has gone above and beyond his duties this year as our FBLA president. He's increased our membership, organized community service events, manages our Instagram account. So I'm just so happy to see his hard work pay off, and he earned a trip to nationals this summer for his senior year. So there's no doubt in my mind that he is going to be successful in the business world, and I look forward to cheering him on.
Congratulations.
Slide down this way just for center. Hold tight.
All right, next, item 5.05, recognition of the VDOE for 2023-2024 Board of Education Highest Achievement Award, Masons Cove Elementary, Mrs. Stephanie Hogan.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, and Dr. Nicely. At this time, I'd like to invite Mrs. Phelps, the principal of Masons Cove, to come forward at this time. I'm pleased to announce that Masons Cove has been recognized by the Virginia Board of Education as being one of 37 schools in the state of Virginia to receive the 2023-2024 Board of Education Highest Achievement Award. Schools recognized for highest achievement demonstrated highest levels of success across all school quality indicators, including success in narrowing achievement gaps. And in order to earn this recognition, schools are required to first achieve performance level 1 for reading, mathematics, and science based on the student pass rate for the all students group in the school, as well as for each student group in the school. In addition, schools with 2 student groups could have no more than a 5 percentage point difference between the performance of each student group and the all students group. Schools with 3 or more student groups could have no more than a 10 percentage point difference. Last, they must achieve level 1 in the chronic absentee school quality indicator, and we are proud to say that Masons Cove has done all of that. As you can see, Masons Cove students and staff are truly deserving of this recognition. And I know Ms. Phelps will come forward, but as you can see, she has brought many friends with her this evening to celebrate this success, and we're so happy to see them as well.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Nicely, I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of Masons Cove Elementary School. This award recognizes all the efforts of the amazing Masons Cove staff, the fantastic students and community that we have. We are very thankful for the support of the school board and for central office. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Multiple rows, taller in the back, shorter to the front.
Are we supposed? I don't know, maybe not. Do you want us?
Are we up again?
It's a big group.
Item 5.06, recognition from the National ITEEA Conference for Virginia Elementary Technology Teacher of the Year, Ms. Meg Swecker, Ms. Kim Bradshaw. Welcome, Ms. Bradshaw.
Good evening, Chair, Board, Dr. Nicely. It gives me great pleasure to bring forward to you Meg Swecker. Meg's journey with this award began in July, where she was named by the Virginia Technology and Engineering Education Association as the Teacher Excellence Award for the elementary level. This is one of the highest honors given to technology and engineering education classroom teachers at each of the levels, elementary, middle, and high school, recognizing the outstanding contributions to the profession and their students. So her journey actually began back in July, where we went to an awards dinner sponsored by VTEA at the Virginia Air and Space Museum in Hampton. We continued our journey, and Meg, along with our fifth grade teacher Kelly Cook, began an after-school club this year centered around the Junior Solar Sprint Challenge through TSA, which is the Technology Student Association. Students built solar cars, leading to a competition. The solar car experience with the students covered 5 of the 9 science SOLs, providing students with a hands-on learning experience that was fun yet challenging. They took 5th grade students to Virginia Tech to compete with Giles County in a solar sprint competition. And you may have seen a little news article just recently about Giles County with TSA. So that's actually who we competed against, were some of their kids. Students visited the campus. I included a lab tour and a special visit with a competition solar car team at Virginia Tech as well. So we got the kids really empowered there. Meg presented the solar car journey and the lessons learned and her reflections and expertise with educators across the nation at the National Conference in Memphis, where they also recognized her as Virginia's Teacher of the Year for Elementary for VTEA. So, Meg Swecker.
Great job. Okay, well, I will say, thank you. But I accepted the award last year and this one as well on behalf of all of the fine STEM educators we have here in Roanoke County. And I want to thank you and our administration for supporting STEM education because it really makes a difference with our students. We have more meaningful instruction and much deeper learning. So thank you for that support and thank you for this.
Everybody.
Slide down this one, so we're centered. Slide on down this one, so we're centered. Slide on down this one, so we're centered. There. That's better. Waiting on it.
Congratulations.
Item 5.07, recognition of the Roanoke County Education Foundation 2024 Golden Apple Teacher of the Year Award winners. Mr. Chuck Limberger.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members and Dr. Nicely. Each year, the Roanoke County Public Schools Education Foundation partners with the school system to recognize the top educators in Roanoke County Public Schools. And tonight, we are exceedingly proud to present the winners of the 2024 Golden Apple Teacher of the Year Awards. We begin with our Green Apple winner, Bailey Divers from W.E. Cundiff Elementary School. Next, we have our elementary school Red Apple winner, Rosie Biggio from Oak Grove Elementary School. Rosie. Next, we have our Red Apple Middle School winner, Tracy Addison from William Byrd Middle School. Tracy. And our high school Red Apple winner, Aaron Edmonds from Glenver High School. Edmonds. And finally, board members, Dr. Nicely, it is my honor to present the 2024 Golden Apple Teacher of the Year, Roanoke County Educator of the Year from the Salem-Roanoke County Chamber of Commerce, and Roanoke County Public Schools nominee for the 2026 Virginia Teacher of the Year, Matt Neal, Hidden Valley High School. Board members, again, your 2024 Golden Apple Teacher of the Year winners. Right in the middle there. Right over here first.
Item 5.08, highlights from W.E. Cundiff Elementary 50th celebration. Miss Ashley McCallum.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, school board members, Dr. Nicely, central office, and guests. My name is Ashley McCallum, principal of W.E. Cundiff Elementary School. On Sunday, April 21st, the current staff and PTA of Team Cundiff honored the 50th anniversary of our school, W.E. Cundiff Elementary. Hardy Road Elementary School, as it was formerly known, opened its doors in August 1972 with an enrollment of 732 students, one of 3 original open space classrooms in Roanoke County. The Hardy Road Roadrunners, that was our former mascot name, became the W.E. Cundiff Elementary Little Terriers in 1989. Over the school's 52-year history, there have been 4 principals: Mr. Frank Stone, 1972 to 1988, Mrs. Jackie Glover, 1988 to 1998, Mrs. Sherry Bryant, 1998 to 2017, and me, your current principal at W. Cundiff. Our open house committee, led by second grade teacher Ann Jones, worked diligently for several months to plan and execute a masterful plan to honor our former teachers, staff, students, and administrators that exceeded all of my expectations. Our guests were able to rediscover the past, embrace the present, and discover the future by taking a trip down memory lane at WEC. We provided tables filled with 52 years of scrapbooks, yearbooks, pictures, newspaper articles, and samples of student work, even one of mine. We honored former members of the Hardy Road W. Cundiff staff who have passed away with a memorial table. We sponsored a fun photo booth to commemorate the event. We showcased our amazingly clean building. We displayed architectural renderings of the upcoming renovations. We served refreshments in the cafeteria and participated in fun and fellowship within the Vinton community. The open house was extremely well attended, and the highlight of my day was talking to my former principal, Mr. Stone, while I was a student at Hardy Road. And watching him interact with countless former students, parents, and just all of the staff members, it was just truly an experience. Having my very own elementary principal tell me how proud he was of me for going into education and my success in that meant everything to me, truly an experience of a lifetime. Just a testament to how one kind word can have such a meaningful impact on others. Cheers to 50 years at Team Cundiff and overwhelming success, due to an amazing team who models what it means to be safe, respectful, responsible, and ready to learn every day in the Vinton community. Another proud moment for Team Cundiff this year. Thanks for your time and continued support of our school.
Ashley, real quick, Ashley, just one, thank you for everything. That was, when I asked that we recognize this event, it really was. Ashley and her team did such a nice job. There must have been 200, 250. We had well over 200 people. It was amazing. It was just a wonderful celebration of the school. They even had scrapbooks back to the first year when I attended. And I had no idea any of that stuff existed. Obviously, I wasn't one of the literary scholars that wrote in any of that stuff, but they're, classmates and different ones. So we thank you for that. But I want to read something, and you've gotten this, but it's a former superintendent that sent this to you and sent us a copy. And I think, Dr. Nicely, you got a copy too. And I think she really summed it up well, and I just want to read it. And again, all this is because of you, and thank you for what you're doing for our community. Dear Ashley, I want to take this opportunity to tell you that the anniversary celebration was a wonderful event. I could tell from the moment I entered the building that this event was well organized. The flow was well defined, and I could choose from a menu of options. It was also clear that a lot of work went into planning and preparation. The building was spotless, and all the exhibits had meaning. None of this happened by accident. It required a talented, strong leader. Frank Stone, Jackie Glover, Sherry Bryant, which I didn't know there were only 4 principals in the history of our school. That's crazy. Set a high standard, and you demonstrate that you can lead the school to even higher goals. Roanoke County Public Schools is fortunate to have your leadership. The next few years will be demanding as you work with staff and students to accommodate the wonderful renovation and addition that will support 21st century learning. Thank you for including me in this celebration, Deanna Gordon, and she's a prior superintendent. So I think she said it better than I could say it, so I just read what she said. But we thank you. Thank you.
Item 5.09, recognition of March Mathness 2024 Most Proficient School and Most Proficient Team winners. Ms. Sarah Baer.
Good evening, school board members. I am Sarah Baer, Supervisor of Mathematics, and I'm delighted to address you today to celebrate the outstanding achievements of our students during the recent March Mathness competition. For 4 weeks, beginning on March 11th and ending on April the 12th, our schools competed to complete as many IXL math skills to the proficient level as possible. Schools were placed on 4 teams named the Duncan Denominators, the Fractions of Fury, Guardians of Geometry, and the Number Ninjas. Before we celebrate the success of our students and teachers in schools, it's imperative to acknowledge the invaluable support from other individuals that were involved in March Madness. I would like to recognize and thank the following individuals: Dr. Ken Nicely for approving this proposal and serving as our referee during March Madness. Our coaches, Dr. Jessica McClung for the Duncan Denominators, Mike Riley, Fractions of Fury, Dr. Rhonda Segal, Guardians of Geometry, and Stephanie Hogan, the Number Ninjas. Collaborating with us from IXL was Colleen Burt. She's our district partnership specialist for her collaboration and running the data each week for our entire district. Steve Ray, he's the IXL Regional Sales Director, and he provided Starbucks gift cards for every single one of our teachers that were the overall most proficient classrooms at all of our schools, and a $100 Papa John's gift card to the overall most proficient classroom. Kelly Heismer, also from IXL, she's the marketing manager, provided teachers at all of our schools with swags and our students with pencils and stickers and other various items throughout the competition. To Chuck Lineberger for his immense creativity and numerous brainstorming sessions and bringing March Madness into collaboration with Roanoke Valley Television. And lastly, Alan Francis, he's the multimedia producer with Roanoke Valley Television for the amazing videos for each week at the competition that showcased our schools. The original proposed goal for March Madness was to increase the number of our proficient skills as a district by 12%, which was about 36,000. Our district far exceeded that goal with 142,108 proficient skills at the end of the competition. That is almost 4 times our goal. So it is with pleasure that I'm bringing before you the most proficient team, the most proficient school, and the most proficient classroom. First of all, the overall most proficient team for our first inaugural March Madness competition was coached by Dr. Jessica McClung, and it's the Duncan Denominators. The Duncan Denominators were composed of Fort Lewis Elementary, Mountain View Elementary, Penn Forest Elementary, W.E. Cundiff, William Byrd Middle School, and Cave Spring High School. The overall most proficient classroom winner goes to a 5th grade classroom at Mountain View Elementary. This year's overall most proficient classroom winner is Mrs. Grace Circle and her students. They will receive the $100 gift card to Papa John's for a pizza party. I'm thrilled to share that it was Penn Forest Elementary School that emerged as our shining stars. They secured the top position for all 4 weeks of this competition, and they are receiving the traveling trophy with their school's name and year engraved on the side to showcase the recognition at their school. Furthermore, I am pleased to recognize the dedication of 2 teachers at Penn Forest Elementary for their outstanding participation during March Madness. They are Emily Driver, 4th grade, and Allie Yingling, 5th grade. Thank you so very much to those 2 teachers at Penn Forest. As we celebrate the success of our students, I would like to acknowledge the invaluable support not just by those individuals that were mentioned, but the parents, guardians, and the entire school community. I extend my heartfelt congratulations to our esteemed winners and express my gratitude to all of those who contributed to their success. And thank you for your attention, and I look forward to your continued support in our mission to nurture excellence in mathematics in Roanoke County.
Now you can see why they're number 2.
Oh, no, you know.
Put the trophy in the middle, and then we'll get some folks on down the side. Let's get 1 or 2 over here, balance out. It's a method, we gotta be balanced. All right, symmetry is important.
Item 5.10, Glenver Middle School redesignated a school to watch. Mr. Mike Riley.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Nicely. In 1999, the National Forum to Accelerate Middle Grades Reform began a national program to identify high-performing middle grade schools. The Schools to Watch program recognizes academic excellence, developmental responsiveness, social equity, and organizational structures and processes in middle-level education. Schools to Watch are vibrant settings where the interactions between teachers, students, staff members, and families and community are interesting and respectful. Students are actively engaged in a variety of learning experiences which stretch their curiosity, develop skills for learning, sharpen thinking processes, encourage questioning strategies, stimulate creativity, and accelerate the knowledge appropriate to their age. Schools who compete for this recognition go through a rigorous process, which includes a lengthy application and concludes with a site visit from middle-level educators across the Commonwealth. Once designated a school to watch, schools must redesignate, going through the same rigorous process every 3 years. Glenver Middle School was originally designated as a school to watch in 2016. This is their second redesignation, meaning they've gone through this process 3 times and been recognized as a national school to watch all 3 times. And this summer, they'll have staff members in Washington, D.C. at the national conference who will be recognized and receive an award there as well. So at this time, please join me in congratulating Principal Amy Duff and the entire Glenver Middle School staff for this impressive recognition.
Thank you. I just want to say that this recognition is, in no small part thanks to the wonderful leadership of my department chairs and grade level people who, they are there every day and they're working hard, and this is some of them today who could come. The rest of our staff is also fabulous. Our kids are wonderful. They come into school ready to learn, and they're excited about learning. They were very excited about the visits. I do need to say that. They love having visitors in the building. Anytime we, have them, I'll tell them ahead of time, and they get very excited. And then if they don't get to talk to somebody, they say, Mrs. Duff, I didn't get to talk to a visitor. So anyway, and we have a wonderful supportive community. Our parents, our school board member, he was there at our Schools to Watch visit, and I greatly appreciate you taking the time to do that. So thank you very much for recognizing us tonight.
I was going to ask the question, because I had to just fix it. That's the first thing I should do. Let's get you guys to step back just a little bit. Come on, stick back. And then come down this way. And then slide down this way. Dr. Nice, you want to slide down just a little bit, all 3 of you, and then that will move. There you go. Perfect. Can you move it just to the other way? Just so it's positioned appropriately and not. Everybody hold very, very still. Here we go.
Item 5.11, RCPS recognized as a best community for music education. Mr. Rick Elliott.
Thank you. Dr. Nicely, Chairman Hudson, members of the board. It is my pleasure to inform you that again, Roanoke County Public Schools was selected as one of the 2024 recipients of the Best Communities for Music Education. This award is presented annually by the NAMM. The National Association of Music Merchants recognizes and celebrates schools and school systems across the country. This recognition is based upon the community's support and commitment to music education and to its efforts to ensure access to music for all students as part of a well-rounded education. This award is based upon funding, staffing, commitment to standards, opportunity, and access to music education, music instruction. The data we provided underwent statistical analysis and was confirmed through an audit conducted by researchers from the Music Research Institute at the University of Kansas. This year, there were 975 school districts across the country that received this recognition. Roanoke County Public Schools has been honored with this recognition 20 times, surpassing all but 16 other school districts nationwide who have achieved the same or higher. Only one school division in Virginia has earned this distinction more, Henrico. The increase in participation of students in this elective at the secondary level across the county illustrates the importance of this curriculum to the students in our community. This is directly tied to the tireless efforts of our excellent music teachers, and it is through the continued support by the administration, school board, and parents of Roanoke County that has enabled this school system to earn the recognition of Best Communities for Music Education for 20 years. Thank you.
Impressive.
All right, item 6.01, we do not have any hearing of citizens for the agenda topics, so we are on to consent agenda. These are items that we have discussed in previous meetings. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Greenway.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Lemon.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Wachani.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hess.
Yes, ma'am. Item 8.01, discussion of naming the new CTE Center, Superintendent Dr. Nicely.
Evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. At the May 2nd work session, the school board discussed a proposal for a name for the new CTE Center. The proposed new name for the center is reflective of the most frequent suggested words appearing on the community survey conducted by the naming committee appointed by the superintendent. The name proposed by the board for the new center is Roanoke County Career and Technology Center, and staff requests the school board take action on this proposal.
I'll make the motion to name the new CTE Center as stated.
Second?
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Chairman, discussion?
Sure.
I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank the naming committee for their time and their efforts. I know they put in a lot of time, more than 40 man-hours reviewing the data and the community input, having plenty of meaningful discussion and debate about what they felt the best name would be for the new CTE Center. Committee seemed to take a professional and non-biased approach and giving thoughtful consideration of the pros and the cons of the different options. I personally believe that the committee recommendation of the Specialty Academies of Roanoke County, or SPARC, would have helped differentiate our facility from Road Tech, B Tech, Day Tech, the other tech centers here in the area. We've seen firsthand how Burton can light a spark under some of the kids that may not have found that spark in a traditional classroom. So at the end of the day, however, obviously the name on the outside of the building is not going to matter as much as what happens on the inside of the building, but I am going to respect the recommendation of the committee and with my vote. So
Any other? All right. I believe we had two motions on the floor, so
Yes, ma'am.
no, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And we would like to extend our gratitude to the committee. Item 9.01, Cave Spring High School Solar Power PPA Pilot Project. Mr. Todd Kegels.
Chairman Hudson, members of the board, Dr. Nicely, good evening. We were asked to just sort of review the process in terms of our PPA pilot program for solar energy for Cave Spring High School, just to kind of look at what we've done to this point. And then I also have Catherine Knight here this evening, who is the Director of Strategy and Business Development for Madison Energy, and she's going to maybe review the financials with you and then be available to answer any questions that you might have. So just to review what we've done to this point, we started this process about 2 years ago when we recognized that our, particularly electricity, but our budget was over about $1 million. We used about $1 million more worth of electricity than we had in the budget. We increased it for the next year, and we're over budget for this year as well. So we began investigating ways to stabilize and reduce our costs. One of those was solar energy. We looked into LED lighting and some things in terms of reducing usage, but the thing that looked most promising was looking at solar energy. We met with multiple providers and tried to educate ourselves in terms of the viability of solar energy and in ways that we might be able to implement that. We made several presentations to the school board. We had guest speakers who came who have experience with solar energy and PPAs. The board asked us to publish an RFP, which we did. We formed a committee who reviewed those proposals, and we selected Madison Energy and made a recommendation to the board to proceed with a power purchase agreement for 25 years. That power purchase agreement would have a 0% escalator, which means there's no increase in cost for 25 years. It would have a lower cost per kilowatt hour than what we pay for electricity now. This figure of $1.9 million in savings over the life of the agreement was actually based on numbers prior to the RFP. Due to the pricing, we actually got better pricing when we put it out for an RFP, and that number is somewhere around $2.5 million now. That system would be maintained 100% by the provider, so we would have no maintenance costs or maintenance responsibilities whatsoever. And I know there were some concerns board members had asked previously about the roof there at Cave Spring High School. It's relatively new, which is actually a requirement for the PPA. And all of the proposers, in fact, had stated that they would work with the roofing manufacturer to certify that the warranty on that roof would not be affected. So our recommended requirements for the system at Cave Spring High School were an 85% offset, so that means solar energy would provide about 85% of what that school uses. The remaining 15% still drawn from the grid. And by the way, I just want to say that nothing in here it should be construed to be negative towards our partners at AEP. They are amazing. They provide stable power and always have for the entire school system, and they work with us. They actually provided some of the data that we use here to look at solar energy, so I just want to thank them. And even though we're trying to save money, we're certainly not disparaging AEP in any way. Okay, so for your consideration, in preparing this presentation tonight, this one struck me. I got an email from our customer service representative at AEP, and this is a quote from that. He said, "You have to remember that the rates from last year, which is what we based our data on, are considerably lower than what they are as of January 1st of this year." So I thought that quote was important because of the escalation that's taking place in power costs. And for AEP to point that out to us, that the data we were using was actually based on last year, and your costs are higher now than they were when you did the calculations. I don't know. I thought that was, that was important to hear. I know Mr. Greenway had expressed some concerns, legitimate concerns, about the risks of engaging in a 25-year agreement. Obviously, that's a very long term. And I just point out that's true. That is definitely a valid concern. There's also risk with staying with our current situation, and that is the escalation in cost. By doing nothing, there's that risk that we're paying far more for electricity than possibly we have to. You may or may not be aware that AEP was approved as for a rate increase in January of 10%. So that's in a single year. It went up, our costs went up 10%. So with that, I'm going to call Catherine and let her present. And then certainly if you have any questions for Catherine or me, be happy to answer them.
Mr. Lineberger, if I could, here we go. Okay. Members of the board and Dr. Nicely, thank you so much for having me. That was a wonderful introduction from Mr. Cagles. It's been our pleasure to work with Mr. Cagles, Dr. Nicely, and the RCPS team to get to this point on the Cave Spring Solar Pilot Project. Just make sure I know how to use this. There we go. As Mr. Cagles mentioned, we're looking at an 860 kW system, kilowatt system, that would provide 85%, so vast majority of the high school's solar electricity needs. And most importantly, we're projecting $2.5 million in savings from this system for our CPS. We just heard a little bit about that volatility that we've seen historically and expect to continue to see from the grid, in this case, Appalachian Power. Over the last 15 years, on average, AEP rates have increased about 4% a year. But as you can see, in any given year, it can be very lumpy. We just heard, a 10% increase this year alone. And we expect that trend to continue going forward. So one of the major advantages of a solar power purchase agreement that would provide 85% of Cave Spring High School's power is that you would be locking in a rate that's not only lower than what you're paying for power now, but is also not going to change for the next 20 or 25 years. So there's not only budgetary certainty, there is also significant savings. So just to talk a little bit more about how we calculate that, the quote from the AEP service representative is pretty powerful. We look at avoided utility costs. So we analyze a full year of usage history at Cave Spring High School. And in this case, we were looking at 2023 data. So it's even a bit conservative. So we take that avoided cost, what you won't be paying to your current utility provider, less what you will be paying for solar through the power purchase agreement, and that represents your savings. So in year one, to give you an example, you'll save about $125,000 from what you'd be paying to AEP, and you'll pay about $95,000 for solar power generated on site. So in year one, we're looking at about $30,000 in savings. But how that grows over time as your energy rates stay the same, and we see AEP rates continue to grow over the next 30 or 25 years, we'd be looking at avoided costs of almost $5 million, with about $2.2 million in PPA payments, which gets us to $2.5 million in savings. It's significant. Madison Energy is a dedicated provider of solar for schools. Just had the privilege of watching so many RCPS students be acknowledged for their significant accomplishments in career-ready extracurriculars, and to hear about Ms. Swecker leading her elementary school students to competition with solar technology is really incredible. Clearly, RCPS is a leader here. And as your solar provider, we want to come alongside our CPS faculty, teachers, staff to support them in what they're already doing in the classroom to make it really tangible and meaningful for students. So that includes paid student internship, job shadowing. It includes important career connections. And as we just talked about, the new CTE Center, the state-of-the-art CTE Center that is coming to Roanoke County. There's significant connections that our dedicated curriculum integration coordinator, Megan Milo, would bring through engineering, building trades. Those we see obvious connections. But you also offer mechatronics, marketing. There are significant connections that we can make in those disciplines as well to bring solar not just to the rooftop, but into the classroom for our CPS students. So with that, I'd love to open it up for questions. I'm here to offer answers to any questions you all may still be considering.
Of facilities where you've put panels in the past, how often do you go and change those out to new panels?
Sure. So as part of the power purchase agreement, all operations and maintenance is included. The modules themselves are warranted for 25 years, but it does happen on occasion that one is faulty or something breaks. So we would service the panels and replace them as needed. The nice thing about solar is there's not a lot of moving parts, so there's not a lot to break, but your system would be under 24/7 monitoring, and should something go down, a module should fail, we would have someone out on site to diagnose that issue and repair it.
Has the technology in those modules changed significantly in the past 5 years?
We're seeing some modest incremental improvements in efficiency, but not sort of significant leaps.
That kind of bridges on the question I have. With technology advancing the way it is and things kind of moving in this direction, 85% is nice, but is there an estimate when we would possibly be able to get 100% or maybe even more than 100% and sell some of the power back in the next 5-10 years, you think? Or I'm just trying to figure out, because 25 years does lock us into a long time.
Sure.
So with the mindset, if we hold out for 4 or 5 years, are we going to get closer to that 90 to 100% range possibly?
So there's a few ways to think about that. I think that is important. One is the roof is solar ready now. There's kind of a window on which we can put solar to line up the useful life of the roof with the useful life of the solar array that maximizes the benefit to the school district. We are seeing some incremental improvements in solar efficiency. If there were hypothetically to be sort of a massive improvement, it would benefit Madison as well as our CPS to repanelize a system. It's not something we anticipate doing based on how we see technology changing, but it's a possibility. In Virginia, it's not economically advantageous at this point to think about on-site solar selling back to the grid. So we don't typically size systems to be in excess of 100% of a building's load.
And at the end of the 25 years, obviously our contract's over. So what happens then?
There's a couple of options available depending on what suits your needs the best. The first would be to purchase the system. If the roof is in good shape and there's not a need to replace it, you could purchase the system and continue to buy continue to benefit from solar electricity outside of the PPA payment. There is also an opportunity to extend the PPA, so you would still have all operations and maintenance covered, and you would just continue to buy electricity as you previously had. Or let's say you're ready to be done, there's new technology, or you need to replace the roof. It is the responsibility of Madison Energy to come and remove the panels and restore the roof to a usable condition.
Okay. And if that brings up a good question too. So if we do have a problem within those 25 years with the roof per se,
Sure.
Who's responsible for, I guess, removing some of the panels for the roof to be repaired?
If that were to happen, it would be Madison's responsibility to come and take away the panels. There's never a situation where the facilities team here would need to interact with the system or remove anything. It would be on us to come and do.
Okay. What about the damage? If there's damage to the roof, whose responsibility is that?
It depends on the cause of the damage. If the damage is due to the solar installation, which is not something that happens frequently, that would be our responsibility as well.
Can you speak to the change from Sun Tribe to Madison?
Yeah, happy to. So Sun Tribe and Madison have been very close partners for several years. Sun Tribe historically has been a project developer. So we develop projects and then work with a long-term financing partner like a Madison Energy to own and operate the systems. Because of the closeness of that relationship and the nature of the partnership, Madison actually acquired Sun Tribe Solar's development team about 6 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So the partnership we've been had for the last several years is now just more solidified as we are now sitting within the Madison team. And so the benefit to Roanoke is the team that develops the projects, installs the project, owns and operates the project, and finances the project is all under one umbrella now.
I have a chair question, Mr. Chairman. How many other schools in the Roanoke area within, let's say, plus or minus 60 miles have you pitched to and have accepted your offer?
In this area, Pittsylvania County is the closest, as well as we are Virginia Tech's solar provider.
Okay, and then, not to be a contrarian here, but what happens when your company goes out of business or something happens? Who absorbs the risk, the cost, the changes? Because I know kind of these companies are kind of taking over other companies right now.
Sure. So Madison Energy Infrastructure is backed by EQT, which is the world's third largest private equity fund. We sit in their infrastructure fund, which itself is a $2 billion fund. So we have significant institutional capital behind us that has the incentive to keep these systems operating to their full capacity for the full PPA term.
So there's a fund, but then if there's issues, then we have to petition to the fund to get funding for any issues. Is that what you're saying?
No. The fund is incentivized because they've made this investment in the system to keep it fully operational. So the really kind of advantageous thing about a PPA structure is that everyone is incentivized to have an array fully functional for the full life. Because when it is generating electricity is when our CPS realizes the benefits, as well as Madison.
All right, so I'm hesitant only because 25 years is a long, long time. I don't even want to tell you how old I'll be in 25 years, but it's really old. I'll be collecting some checks, I'm pretty sure. With that being said, 25 years ago on S&P, Sears was this incredible company, right? Amazon wasn't even heard of. Apple wasn't even a thing. So to project where we're going to be 25 years from now, whether or not this company is going to be solvent and solar is going to be what we think it is in my opinion, is a huge risk at this time. So I just wish the contract could be a lot less. I know you need to make money, but 25 years just is an awful long time.
If you would, we did provide pricing for shorter PPA terms, which is available too. So that is certainly an option.
Thank you.
I don't have much to add. I've said pretty much what I've said, and I still hold true to that. But, for us to buy in 2050 panels from 2025, I don't know what we're buying, because by that time, technology is going to just be off the charts from where we're at now. And so the risk for me to save $30,000 this year and $30,000 next couple years, to wait 3 to 5 years and see where technology gets to, and we might be able to sell electricity back to communities. For me, 25 years is just a deal breaker. And I'm all about renewable energy, would love for the solar idea to take place. And I'm in, not doing as much right now, but in the building industry. And if solar were, in my mind, if it were the end all to be all at this point, we'd see it everywhere, all over everything. And I think we're getting there. We're still working at it, right? But in 3 to 5 years, I think those panels will be half the size. They'll be, able to generate a lot more energy. I just think to lock us in for 25 years, save 30,000 a couple years, 3, 4, 5 years, and then yes, $2.5 million. It's $100,000 a year. It's a lot of money. I'm not knocking that, but I just think the agreement for 25 years is a deal breaker for me. And I'm just one person, but I would take the risk and take the bet that in 3 to 5 years we can develop a much better deal, a much shorter time frame.
Have the panel sizes changed much in the past 3 to 5 years?
Again, we've seen sort of incremental improvements in module efficiency, but we don't, for ground-mounted projects, we're seeing larger panels, but on the roof, there's a fixed amount. So we're not seeing the industry as a whole is sort of making incremental improvements in efficiency, but there's no reason to expect that there'll be significant jumps. And at 85% offset, you don't need a significant jump.
And at what point does the Cave Spring roof become something you or any other company is not interested in because it's no longer viable for 25 years?
It's really beneficial to install solar in the earliest years of a membrane roof's life because you get the advantage of lining up the roof lifetime with the expected solar lifetime. So there may be advances in technology in the coming years, absolutely. And the downside is you would just miss out on the advantages of your solar-ready roof right now.
A brand new roof. It's a brand new roof.
I have one question. In regards to, is there any safety concerns? I've never heard of anything, but like with obviously our students and our staff, chemicals or heat or fire, is there anything that we would need to know on that end that we would need to be prepared for?
Sure, absolutely. And that's a question we get a lot because obviously when we're putting something on schools where children are, safety is always our top concern. So as I mentioned, there's not a lot of moving parts in a solar array. They don't absorb heat. Their job is to absorb light and not heat. So there's not significant risk from that front, and they are all designed to code with several emergency shutoff opportunities at different places within the system that act as safety features, so they're built to code for that purpose. Typically, when we complete a system, we would invite local fire to come and tour the array, understand where the shutoff is. When the grid goes down, the system also shuts down. That is a safety mechanism. So there aren't significant safety concerns, but it is something that we are always talking about and thinking about.
Thank you. Anybody have anything else? Well, I really appreciate you coming and giving us some of your time.
Absolutely. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kegels. Appreciate all your time as well. Item 10.01, hearing of citizens for non-agenda topics. We have one speaker tonight. That is Dr. Ryan White. During this portion of the meeting, citizens are invited to address the board on matters of public concern and exercise of their First Amendment rights. In the interest of time, speakers must be either parents, employees, students, or citizens of Roanoke County. We ask speakers to be respectful and civil in their comments, observing due respect to the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by public comments. Speakers should be aware that they may be held legally responsible if they make statements that violate the legal rights of others, for example, statements that are made that are defamatory or threatening. Complaints about specific school personnel should be addressed outside of this meeting to the appropriate school administration, who will address those concerns as appropriate through existing complaint procedures. Comments likely to disrupt the board's work or prompt a breach of peace are prohibited, and the speaker will be called out of order by the board chair. Speakers must address the board rather than individual board members. Speakers have 3 minutes to make their comments and will be signaled by the lights on the podium. When the light turns red, please wrap up your comments and finish before the light turns red. Please be aware that board members listen to comments but do not respond. Welcome, Dr. Wright.
Thank you. Members of the board, thank you for your time tonight. I am Dr. Ryan White. I use he, him pronouns. I stand before you today with quite a heavy heart. There have been many losses in our community very recently. May or may not have heard of some of them, and I hope we can all take a moment later to honor their passing. I'd like to, instead of spending my 3 minutes talking about and honoring his memory, like to talk about something that he came before you and spoke bravely about many times. The well-being of the downtrodden, the downtrodden and the discriminated against in our community. And all across our nation, politics have actually taken over school boards and discriminatory policies adopted. I am, however, very happy to report that at the state level, every single bill presented to them that was anti-trans has been defeated. Legislators are listening to the evidence, they're listening to the science, and they're responding appropriately. Experts like myself, teachers, and therapists have all been here to present evidence against these policies and have pled for them to be removed in favor of inclusion and support for our children. And yet these policies persist. And I speak clearly and specifically about policies that ban signs for inclusion, even if clearly crafted to avoid mentioning rainbows, and policies that misgender students. As a board member pointed out, names carry meaning. Names are important. And when a young individual comes forth and says, "This name I was born with does not match my identity, here's the name that does fit who I am as a person," we should honor that. We know that we can prevent suicide and improve the mental well-being of our youth by building communities that embrace gender-affirming care, not discriminate against them. And while my voice is that of a single physician here before you today, I have continued to share with you policy stances from professional organizations backed by decades of research and evidence that represent the thoughts of thousands of professionals. It's not a minority stance. It's not a controversial stance. It is fact, it is evidence-based, and it is the right thing to do. Here in our very own community, in our backyard, this past month, we lost a young individual due to discrimination in their community. Out of the privacy for their family, to honor them, I will not mention details. But if you've already seen anything in the news or online, you know who I'm talking about. And a single life is not a cost worth paying in this community. We can argue all day about projected risks for solar, etc., but I am out of time. Please make the right decision and repeal those policies.
Thank you, Dr. White. Item 11.01, report by Roanoke County School Superintendent, Superintendent Dr. Nicely.
Good evening again. We have several performances going on this evening at schools, and so I'm going to try to keep this brief in hopes to getting to the second half of one. So we do want to once again congratulate all of our retirees and thank them for their years of service. We had a good turnout at the retirement banquet last week to celebrate with the many employees who have given so much in service to the children of Roanoke County. Since I may not be able to attend the June meeting, let me take this opportunity to especially thank two members of my senior leadership team who are retiring this year. Dr. Rhonda Stegall came to us from Roanoke City schools over 20 years ago and has served Roanoke County Schools as assistant principal at Northside High School, principal at Hidden Valley High School, and assistant superintendent. In this most recent role, she has been crucial to our success through the challenges of the past few years, keeping our students safe, capably managing crises, and providing sound advice and perspective. Stephanie Hogan likewise has had extensive experience in both Roanoke City and Danville schools before joining several years ago Roanoke County Schools as principal of Glen Cove Elementary. And for the past few years, she has provided steadfast, exemplary leadership with our elementary programs as executive director of elementary instruction. That is not to begin to fully articulate the value that Dr. Stegall and Ms. Hogan have brought to our school system. But as I said early on, I'm trying to keep this brief. Suffice it to say that both of these leaders have earned the trust, confidence, and admiration of all with whom they have worked, and they will be missed. We're pleased to report that the state has passed a state budget, which will allow us to reevaluate the budget that the board passed at the end of March. We'll not know the real numbers for that and what it means for Roanoke County until the VDOE provides their new budget calculation tool, hopefully sometime over the next week. Any new state funds will have to first make up for the reduction in local revenues of over $840,000. We're hopeful that additional state revenues will make up that difference and provide additional new funding beyond that. We, as a reminder, do have May 29th and 30th scheduled for an extra budget work session. Lastly, it's been a very busy time of year and a time for celebrating our students in schools. Last evening, I enjoyed hearing some of the presentations of the research projects our students in the Center for Engineering have been working on over at the Burton Center, as well as the internship experiences our senior engineering students have been participating in. It was amazing to not only hear about their learning, but also see the presentational and communication skills that they've acquired. We want to thank all the area businesses and researchers who invest in our students through internship experiences, and also several came out last evening to serve on the expert panels to give the students feedback for their presentations. And for a completely different change of pace for math and engineering, I was able to dash over to Northside last evening to hear the second half of the middle school and high school choir concerts. And I had promised actually one of the Northside Middle School 8th graders that I would be there to hear her solo. And wow, it was amazing. I was so impressed, not just with her solo, but also the incredible talents of these choirs. This evening, by the way, the William Byrd High School choirs are performing, and also Hidden Valley and Cave Spring theater programs are doing a combined show that starts tonight and goes through Saturday, if anybody gets a chance to go out and see those. This, of course, is one of the reasons that we're so proud to have been named a Best Community for Music Education for the 20th year. Graduation ceremonies, of course, are Tuesday and Wednesday. William Byrd and Cave Spring seniors will be graduating on Tuesday. Northside, Hidden Valley, and Glenver students graduating on Wednesday. So we want to congratulate all of these graduates and the teachers and staff, as well as families that have helped them reach that this milestone. And of course, Mr. Lineberger would fuss at me for not mentioning that his award-winning Graduation Live program will, of course, be, again, broadcasting these graduations to families all over the country, which is a great service that is provided. And of course, that's produced and hosted by Mr. Lineberger himself. So thank you very much.
And RPTV students, our recap students.
All right, item 12.01, reports and inquiries of board members. Mr. Linden, would you like to go first?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman, and I will be brief also. Just wanted to thank Mr. Sir for the outstanding job at the apprenticeship night back over at the Salem Red Sox game a couple weeks ago. Such a great job collaborating with Roanoke City Schools, Salem City Schools, and the Chamber of Commerce on that event, to see so many businesses that are involved with that to come out. And I know that while we were there, some local business owners came up and saw what was going on, and I'm not sure if it was you or if it was Carl. They came up to somebody and said, "How do I get involved with this?" After seeing what was going on, they were like, "Wow, this is neat. How do I get involved?" So, outstanding job there. And just wanted to, last month, had the opportunity to go over to Herman L. Horn for the community wellness event that Nancy Hands and Meg Swecker. Obviously, not only is she fantastic with what we recognized her for tonight, but that event that Tim encouraged us to put on to get that word out to the community is just so important at that level, at every level of the schools. So wanted to thank, I see Meg's not still here, but that was a nice event over there at Herman L. Horn last month as well. So that's all I have tonight.
Ms. Clemens?
So the month of May is no joke, as a parent and as a volunteer and for all of our teachers and staff, but the finish line is in sight. There's a lot going on, award ceremonies, field trips, field days, end-of-year celebrations. We have one at Cave Spring Middle tomorrow, which is a big event. As Dr. Nicely mentioned, we were able to be a part of the retirement dinner, which was really nice. The years of service in the room was pretty incredible, so it was really nice to see them recognized, and we thank them for their dedication to our schools and our students. I'm also looking forward to Cave Spring High School's graduation next week. That'll be fun to be a part of that. And so as we're wrapping up the year, I just want to talk a little bit about Officer Hubbard, who is the SRO at Cave Spring Middle School. He is a tremendous asset to the school, and they are wrapping up their, what he calls Squire's Aid. They just had their last meeting this week. So I want to talk about him a little bit. He just goes above and beyond every single day. He's had such a positive impact on the students. If you've been around him, he is such a pleasure to be around. He's always smiling. The kids love him. He's created a role for himself that goes far beyond just being physically present in the school. He's building relationship with the students, but he's also built this extremely successful club, and some of the pictures are up there. He encourages community involvement and service to others. His focus is on safety and substance awareness and mental well-being. His club members have been a big help to me and to my PTO in a lot of the events that we do throughout the year. And so in some of the images, what you can see are the Squire's Aid members. They wrote appreciation letters to principals, teachers, and nutrition associates. They spread awareness to not only buckle up, but always be a safe passenger. They helped us decorate for Red Ribbon Week, and they all dressed up for our Hawaiian Day to lay off drugs. They handed out candy at Cave Spring High School's Trunk or Treat, which has also been a really successful event. They promoted safety to rising sixth graders at Cave Spring Elementary School. They raised money for disabled American veterans by displaying a field of flags, which was really pretty as we drove into the school. They raised awareness and promoted drug prevention by passing out DEA wristbands that said "One pill can kill." They participated in the Arrive Alive letters. So this was done, they sponsored this in the English classes. They wrote letters to seniors, reminding them to be smart and make smart decisions during graduation and prom season. And they also made a buckle up poster, which was designed by their club members. So just again, thank you to Officer Hubbard for all that you do. Congratulations on the success of Squires Aid, and I wish the club continued success. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm down here struggling with allergies. If anybody has, this year is just off the chart with allergies. But to Ms. Clemens' point, we have the SROs, for those of us who are on this board, when we were trying to get these SROs, if you knew what we went through to get these SROs, I don't know how we had to beat our heads so many times against the wall to get those. We've got one right behind me that's at the middle school, Joe, and they're amazing, and what they provide to our schools and our kids is just phenomenal. And they like Joe so much that they told me I had to figure out a way that we had to keep him there, even though he was on the sheriff's department. And so Chief Pendleton and Sheriff Orange were gracious enough to come together and figure it out. And so we get to keep Joe, and I get to stay on the board a couple more months just because they were going to get rid of me if I didn't get Joe back in there. A couple things as we were going along. One thing we've talked about, and I've talked about a lot, and I want our teachers to understand, this is a problem with the insurance that we've talked about, bantered it around a little bit on emails, but we are going to see if we can take a little bit of a deeper dive, maybe look at different angles, and it may not happen this year, but we're going to continue to work on that piece of the puzzle, because as some have told me, when we give those raises and then we come up with these big increases in insurance, it does feel a little disingenuous, and I get that we have to. I get where we're coming from. I've been in those rooms when you shop the insurances. It's tough, but we've got to figure a way that we can make this a little bit more affordable, or maybe give options, or rebalance the self-insurance and the whole idea of, and we're also kind of tied in with the county, and so there's a lot of variables there that have to be looked at. But I think we really need to do a deeper dive and just see if there's anything we can do there. I want to shout out, we did the Cundiff celebration. We also had William Byrd High School that we didn't have quite as many folks, but we had a lot of folks at that. It was really well attended, and come see the new renovations, and people were just thrilled with what it looked like, and the classrooms and so forth. So that was all in the last month. One of my favorite things that we do at the end of the year is the SAC meetings with the kids. And so we had our breakout sessions, and they had some questions for each of us board members. And then they also, went above and beyond a few of those questions, and we had a discussion about some other issues and so forth. And so we took it a step further, and I told her, if you bring me these issues, I want you to realize that we're going to do something about it, and we're going to try and address these issues. I can't say what we'll do or that we will do anything in particular, but I can say we'll talk about it, discuss it, and see what we can do. And so we had those discussions with Ms. Newcomb and Mr. Anderson, and it's just a phenomenal way for the kids to see that, we take their concerns seriously, and they're a part of the growing process of how the schools operate and how we should function as society. And so that was really, I love the SAC breakout meetings that we do. Hard to believe that we are at graduation, but we are. We're at graduation, and said this last month, it was hard to believe that we were a month away, and now we're days away. And so it's another class, and just in getting to see a lot of these kids and seeing them through the years, I know just a smidgen how teachers feel when they lose these kids year after year. It's I'm sure they get close and they get have relationships with them. And so, mine goes over several years because I don't obviously have those years, but, I can think of a lot of the students that are graduating this year that I've known or that I've come to know through friends and relationships. And it's cool to see them graduate, but it's also a little bit hard to believe that they're graduating. I guess just like your kids, you think, where did time go? And then the last thing is a very serious thing to me to discuss, and this will be it for but we also presented our budget to our county counterparts. I forget what date it was, but it was sometime this month. And some of the questions that you got are just concerning that I'm not sure if they understand. It just makes you wonder. Maybe I don't understand, but when you ask the superintendent and Susan Peterson, what are you going to do to close the gap with some of these other counties? You have to step back and shake your head and say, do you realize where we get the funding from? There's only so much we can do with what we have. We have one of the best school divisions in the state of Virginia. We have to think about some of the comments we made, and can we pair our 3.75% raise back to the 3% that the county's giving? I mean, do we even know what we're the issues with teacher, staff, and pay? And I mean, this is not we're not talking about and I don't want to spout off a specific group of workers, but my point is this is this is specialized. Not just anybody can go into the teaching profession or not in the teaching profession. You just can't come off the street and we hire you to go teach our kids. So to hear those questions just blows my mind. And, and I'm sorry you had to hear that. We're reducing our funding by $850,000 through the tax decrease. We grew government $10 million last year. We're growing at $10 million. We grew at $4 million the year before, and we're taking back $850,000 from a 2-cent reduction in real estate taxes, but we didn't raise taxes. I mean, the semantics of all that just blows my mind. And so, we want to keep educating these kids the way we have and the way we expect our kids to be educated. And I'm proud to sit on this board and fight for every dime that our teachers get. And no, it's not enough. And yes, we pay too much for insurance at times, so that's a societal thing, not just us. But, sometimes we just have to think what we're asking. It just blew my mind when y'all were standing up there and they were asking a couple of these questions. Thank you.
Yeah, so thanks, Tim, for your comments. That was shocking to me as well. I agree that not having that money is going to hurt us some way, some shape or form. So anyway, I just want to say heartfelt gratitude, wishes to all the teachers. It is May is Teacher Appreciation Month. The school board went ahead and provided lunches to all the staff, and I think that made them happy. Everybody likes a good pizza lunch every now and again. So I sent out a note, but I just wanted to again say thank you for their unwavering dedication and their tireless efforts. They do shape the minds of the futures of our students. So without them and their commitment to nurturing and guiding our students, Roanoke County would not be what it is today. And we can see that by evidence by all the recognitions that we had. To just sit up here year after year and to see all these recognitions is just mind-blowing. I did attend the retirement party. That was pretty neat. It's my 3rd year in a row. It's crazy to see these teachers kind of come and go that I know from when my kids were in school, and I guess we're just getting old, Tim. That's really how it is. But some great people are leaving, and it's sad to see them leave, but I know there's incredible teachers right there, right behind them. The SAC Leadership Conference was excellent. I haven't yet met with my principal to go over some of the concerns that I heard, but I'm just going to vocalize the 2 comments from a majority of my students that I met with. It's vaping. We have a problem with vaping in our bathrooms, and it's got to be stopped. And this is my next mission. So we're going to find a way to do it. But where our kids are being introduced to vaping is actually probably at our schools.
Cheryl, can I say something to that point? We have like 5 or 6 vape shops within a mile of William Byrd High School.
Yeah.
5 or 6 of them. Now, I'm all for free enterprise, but
Yeah,
that's
that
concerning.
was, so I attended so vaping was the issue. And the other issue was access to the bathrooms. So why is access to the bathrooms cut off? Because kids are vaping. And I have a sophomore who's just tells me how tough it is to just get to the bathroom to take care of her needs. And that there are bathrooms that are known to be the vaping bathrooms. So we have got to do something as a school board to stop this. In addition to Tim's comment, I attended the health committee meeting. And in that meeting, I brought up the smoke shops. We have to, as a school board, work together with our local committees, the health committee, and Dr. Nicely has been tasked with helping us formulate a letter with different organizations in our community, particularly maybe Curlian or some of the other organizations, where we can put our names to a letter that will then be added, hopefully by the delegates and representatives, and take it all the way to the state so that we can form a organization, grassroots level, to get these smoke shops out of eyesight of our buildings, because you can drive down, you could throw a stone from Hidden Valley High School and hit a vape shop. And these kids are walking to them, and they're smoke shops. They're just not vape shops, let's be honest. They're THC shops. They're all over the place. So with Nancy Hand's efforts and some other efforts, we're hoping that we can form this ad hoc group that presents some type of a letter, and then take it up to the Parent Teacher Association, take it up to the local superintendents, to the VSBA, to put some legislation in place so that we can at least stop these from being around our schools. Kind of, we have your drug-free zones and then your safety zones and things like that. Let's see, was there anything else I wanted to say? Oh, graduation. Graduation is just around the corner. I'm looking forward to it. There's lots of students that I still know who come through, and it's always a pleasure to see the smiles on their faces and see the parents cheering them on in the stand. So whatever your next endeavor is in life, we all support you and we're cheering for you 110%. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vashani. Well, I just want to start out by thanking our staff. We had a lot of principals here tonight, a lot of staff, and it's just great to see them get honored and to see all the accomplishments that they are able to provide for our children. I mean, several schools recognized tonight, and nothing better than when we have our students speak and our staff speak. So that was really nice. I'd like to congratulate all of our retirees. It was a great banquet, and I think both of our clerks deserve some recognition for the wonderful event that they put on. And thank you, Chuck. I know you had a lot to do with that as well, and all the other staff that I'm not sure who had to do with, but that was a great event. I always look forward to that every year, and I always look forward to our graduations, and I know that's coming up here next week, and I'm really excited about that. I'm looking forward to attending those. To touch a little bit on what Mr. Greenway said, you know, I don't want to bash the Board of Supervisors at this point, but I do think that we need to have some constructive communication amongst boards, and I am asking that we have a joint public meeting. You know, we haven't done that in a while. Some folks are not fans of that, but I feel like that we need to be transparent. We need to be transparent to the people that we serve. If we don't agree with one another, it's okay. And I think that is a part of, it's what comes along with these positions. And I think the public has to decide what they want. And, you know, our teacher salary, that is a huge problem, as well as infrastructure, which we've been able to address a lot of that. But our teacher salaries, it's hard to keep up with, you know, our neighbors, especially with, say, Roanoke City, who gets a lot more government funding than we get. And it's hard for us to be able to maintain a competitive, you know, a competitive pay rate and compensation. We try to do other things, but when the insurance rate goes up to I think it was 17%, Susan, is that correct? 17% increase in insurance costs. And if you have a family, and probably a lot of folks out of our 2,000 plus employees have the family plan, that takes a big hit, especially when you're getting a 3.7% raise. And we know that. Me personally working for the government, I feel the pain myself, and I understand that. So we are going to look at some options, and I hope that we can do something. I'm not sure. But I also have received lots of not complaints, but concerns from our staff in regards to that, because some folks may not see a raise. They may be on the borderline of taking a pay deduction. I'm not sure. But I know also we have a lot of staff members, speech pathologists or nurses, or these other positions that I know these folks could go out into the private sector, make a lot more money than what they're making here. And I don't want to lose these folks, and I want the best for our children. And it's hard to provide the best for our children if we're not able to pay a livable wage. So with that being said, we are losing $840,000 out of what we were originally told we were going to get back in March. And I'm hoping that when we have these joint board meetings that I'm going to request, that we clear up some of the confusion, like Mr. Greenway had talked about some of the questions. I think that we need to address the pay scale. This has been an ongoing problem. It was an ongoing problem for public safety for a while, and the Board of Supervisors found a way to remedy that. And I would like to see a similar plan for our educators and our staff. So we're going to continue to work hard. Like Mr. Greenway said, we only have so much funding to use, but we're going to continue to push forward and provide the best for our children. And thanks again to our staff. Without you, we are nothing. You are the most important part of this organization. With that, meeting adjourned.